Johnny Five here from Flobots. I'm sitting here with Mane Roc, DJ Tense, and Nachi. And Nachi's here from Emergency Room. We're going to talk a little bit about this new video that just came out called This Ones. I haven't seen the video myself, but Mane, I've heard about this video from you, from others. And tell me a little bit about this video. First, actually, let's talk about the song. Where did the idea from the song come from?
Well, at the time, it's actually been it's an older idea. Mm-hmm. It was one that during the time when we had ideologies with theme. One, I just came up with this idea. There was a lot going on in the world, in regards to police brutality, about, it was just been happening ever since, ever since I think Rodney King got publicized.
Right.
I think we've seen a continuous increase of these police brutality situations. And so at this time, when I initially had thought of the song idea was actually when Amadou Diallo had gotten attacked in New York or shot. And it just kind of went from there and spawned, and I never had an outlet to finally get the final song out. So once I was able to, with the Ugly Truth album, we moved forward, and the idea just kept growing with more things that happened in the instances of Sean Bell, Ayanna Jones, Marvin Booker. We could continue for days because this trend seems to just continue throughout the United States that, police brutality, no one seems to be accountable for it anymore. And
so is this a song you actually had written back then, or you wrote it more recently, but you had the idea for it back in the day?
No, I had written the original version back then, and then it was just sat there, and I just had it for years, and I thought, coming back into this Ugly Truth album, this was even the album that I had planned it for, was, I was like, the whole idea of this album was just, some really sensitive subjects in general, so it was like, I'm going to take this song, and that's what I was going towards, but I never really pushed on that because of the work we started doing with Mainline. That just kind of took up all my time, as far as what we're doing musically. And then this came about, and it was still something that I really wanted to do, that I wanted to get out to people.
And I mean, I think for a lot of people who live here in Denver, really anywhere in the country, there's been a whole string of incidents. Was there one incident that kind of was the catalyst, was the push? I mean, what was happening, the week you wrote that song? What was the most recent thing that was happening in Denver around police brutality?
The interesting thing is the week of the actual release of that album, The Ugly Truth, when it came out, was the week Ayanna Jones got shot. And for people who aren't familiar, she was a 7-year-old girl in Detroit who, during a police raid, was shot by the cops. And a 7-year-old girl, is going to be under 5 feet tall. There's no reason for them to have guns drawn on this child, unless there was somebody, I suppose, in a hostage situation holding her. But I mean, that's what I'm saying is throughout time, things continuously happened. It wasn't any one particular incident that happened to push it on over. It was already happening, bubbling over, and people just didn't talk about it anymore since NWA did Fuck the Police, And, there's been these instances, Ice-T's Cop Killer, people have done songs in different aspects in regards to police, but to me, it was never like this idea of who these people were, who were the victims, and how that can translate to each and every one of us, because as much as we can say police brutality, the numbers are obviously going to be higher, just like those in jail on the minority side of things. There's police brutality victims who are older and white, who, across the board. It doesn't even matter these days anymore. And I mean, like from the story of, and his name escapes me right now, but about 2 years ago, outside of Coors Field, the guy was just on his bike leaving the game, and the cops told him to get off, and he didn't hear because he had some earbuds in his ear, so they pushed him down and ended up breaking his teeth on the street, and this was all caught on video. And it's like, and he was an older white guy, and then even the recent one this past year of a lawsuit for the city and county of Denver was Mr. D. Herrera, and he was a younger guy who came all the way from Pueblo, to party in downtown Denver with all the other young people, and then he ends up getting beat by the cops, and it just happens that his dad was a cop himself in Pueblo.
Sheriff.
And so like that started, immediately, obviously, he was able to get the ball rolling for what he was doing in his lawsuit.
So the song, This Ones, it's on your album, The Ugly Truth. Let's talk a little more about the song. What was the hardest part about writing the song? Obviously, like you said, it's a very sensitive subject. You never know how people are going to receive it. You never know how people who might be law officers are going to receive it.
Definitely. I think, and the hardest part was being able to make sure that I stay factual, throughout what I'm saying, and not trying to really push overboard as to what I'm saying being anti-police, because at the end of the day,
song's not anti-police.
No, it's really the people who are the cause of police brutality, or at least those who are not, you know, taking the accountability even within the system, that tend to know what's going on, but just let it fly by due to this brotherhood they have. And I can understand that there needs to be some sort of brotherhood in our work situations, in whatever social situations, because we should feel like we can depend on those people that we're working with. But with this in particular, this is a subject that, to me, someone put it really interesting recently with an event that happened recently in regards to police brutality, was that truck drivers are held to a higher standard in regards to driving because they're professional drivers, you know. So when they are in an accident during work hours with their truck driving license, they automatically lose their license, and they're automatically at fault. The same should be said for cops, is we put you in a position of power to enforce laws. And the minute you break them, you should be held to a higher standard. That's kind of how I feel, just because that's what makes sense to me. It's like, we're giving you this power to walk the streets with the gun, with the taser, you know, with the billy club, for you to be able to stop people, to pull them over. And, you know, that's why people who impersonate cops, you know, that's why that happens.
We give them the power that we should give, there should be the same accountability.
Exactly. And I mean, and to me, that makes sense. And I think that's the thing, is so often is that since they don't have that same accountability, a lot of them, you know, I think in general, people tend to try to get over in life. You know, it's like, hopefully they can cut corners just because we all want an easier path. And so I think the same, I don't expect them to be perfect either. I know that there's going to be faults, but it's, you know, the thing is to let them know that I know that there's good cops. I know that there's people out there that are really working for the community, trying to make a change, because we all come up in the same communities. The problem is these ones that get away with it, or the ones that know they're doing it and let them get away with it. Those are the issues, and I think that's what we as people need to make sure we're holding them accountable for.
Johnny 5 here. We're talking about the song This One's off the album The Ugly Truth. We're here with Mane Roc, DJ Tense, and Nachi from Emergency Room. Let's talk a little bit more about this song, This One's. A lot of the song is cuts. I mean, there's a sizable portion that's a lot of different samples, a lot of different cuts from different things. DJ Tense, talk to us about that section, because that really struck me as unique just for a song, but also as really powerful for this particular song.
Well, the initial cuts were made probably about, I don't know, I want to say almost 7 years ago.
Something like that.
When we had originally started messing with this song. Before the mainline thing, like Mane had talked about, that was actually the first song I had worked on with Mane together.
That's cool.
And I just came in, they kind of told me the idea of what they were doing, and right off the bat, the Busta Rhymes sample, This One, came to my head, and it just ended up fitting perfect. So that piece was already in place, and then when we kind of like brought it back out and started revamping it, we started going over like some different news clips and stuff that we had compiled from different, you know, locations, and just it was crazy. Like, it was just almost like a overflow of like different samples that we could have used. It was just amazing how many different situations. And,
so then, how did you pare them down? What did you decide to go with?
You know, it's part of just like the, you know, the artistic flow of just kind of how things fit into place. Nothing real particular on that. It just kind of, you know, just came to me, and a lot of these just really pertain to exactly to like what we were trying to hit.
So, you know, you got the song on the album. The album was released a year ago, more than a year ago. Why now? Why did you decide to do a video to back up this song? What went into that decision?
What it was timing. It was more than anything. It was like we had been put in a position where we could have pushed to try to do this beforehand, and we were trying to. The video earlier on, and it just wasn't materializing what we wanted to happen and what the other directors were working with at the time. Also at that time, Nachi was still living out in LA, where he had been doing work, you know, with Eric Heights, who had done another video for myself and others here. And Nachi ended up, I found out he came back to Denver, and I ended up meeting with Lance through other artists here in Denver, you know, that he had worked with. And Lance kind of just had this idea. He was like, hey, you know, I'd like to work with you. Or Vince Lance, I'm sorry. And when he said that, I was like, all right, and I just fed him music, and I was just like, you know, whatever you want. There's particular songs that I'd like to see a video for, you know, and it was just like, it was all about the timing, and he was like, man, this song really struck me, and he's like, and I think we can do something really great and cinematic with it, and you know, which is exactly what I had in mind for it as well, was something grander, not just another rap video, you know, to have some sort of storyline, but also be able to bring it back to facts. Because one of my biggest thing about being a performer is that we're given this platform to speak to a lot of people. And a lot of times that's what bothers me with a lot of what people consider commercial, dumbed down music, is that you have this huge platform. So why aren't you speaking to the people, you know, in some sort of constructive way?
Do you think that, is that an obligation? Is that an opportunity? How do you see kind of, is it a responsibility of an artist? Like, where do you see that fitting in? Is it separate from the artistry, or is it part of who you are as an artist to speak on specific issues?
Quite righteously, I do think it's even part of the artistry. I think it should be a requirement. It's like, and I'm not saying that anybody has to stand on on their soapbox continuously and preach to people and tell them, you know, this, that, and the third, because I like to party too. I like to have fun, you know. It's
Right,
not,
like, are those separate? Is there like the PSA side of you, and then there's the,
yeah,
like...
and there is, and I mean, I think you can see that in our catalog of how we make music. You know, we definitely have these separations of what we're doing, you know, this is this, this is that, but there's even ways for it to be brought back together to something cohesive, you know, and I think that's what it became, and what with this song in particular, you know, as this idea built to make the video and to move forward with it, it was like, you know, what's the best way to do this? There was so many people that this idea touched. It's such a universal idea, and it's such a timeless idea that even when you look back to, you know, JD's "Fuck the Police" and, you know, the NWA's songs, like, that still resonates with people. And that's the best thing about this song, is even though it's through this long period of time, and people are like, so why are you doing this now? It doesn't matter, because it's
stop
still
being relevant.
Yeah, it's always relevant.
Unfortunately.
You know? Exactly, and that's what I think we need to really put out there.
So let's talk about the video. Nate, you're here from Emergency Room Productions.
Yep.
Is that the official name?
No, Emergency Room.
Emergency Room. I won't add anything to it. All right. So Nate, talk about this video. The approach you took to make this video.
Well, I think the most complex thing about making this video was, you know, that it's a political issue. The videos I worked in the past often involved humor, and we could take a way more casual approach to the subject matter.
Right.
Whereas with this video, we had to, you know, with a magnifying glass, go over every inch of this video and make sure the messaging was clear. Two specific things that we gave specific attention to. We did scenes that allude to famous police brutality incidents, and we were very concerned that we did not do anything exploitive, nor anything that would be offensive to the victims' families. We wanted to approach that part of the video with the utmost respect, and I think we accomplished that. The other half of the messaging is that, you know, as Mane stated earlier, this is not intended to be a project that's F the police, per se. What we really wanted to do was create a balance between showing that this one cop's issues, you know, that he has gone through some personal problems, which led him to this point, which took him over this edge of what's acceptable, right? And that coming out of that there's also this good cop that's kind of the counterbalance.
Right.
To, you know, I don't even like to necessarily use labels good cop, bad cop, to be honest with you. But there is this other more balanced cop character, and in the storyline, what we basically do is show the fall of this one individual and the counterbalance. And so we really made the effort to have a mature approach to like a police brutality, where we're not just waving a finger at you know, the Denver police. We're more just trying to raise awareness and get people talking about this topic. And you know, my personal hope is even that there'll be some police that see this and that look at it and think, you know, maybe there is something about this whole brotherhood where this whole, you know, we conceal what's happening is not the right approach. Maybe what the right approach is that we find these individuals who do often, I mean, they're the people whose parents beat them. You know, maybe they were sexually abused as a child. Whatever it is to lead them to this point that they're angry. And we try to get these people help within the system. And in the video, we have kind of an idealized outcome where there is justice, and the cop who's fallen actually decides that, of his own volition that he needs to leave the force.
And I can hear even just in your voice how passionate you are about making sure you're recognizing the humanity of everybody involved in these cases, in these incidents that often for the public just exist as a little snapshot. Can you talk about when you were actually sitting there editing the video together, who was in your head? Is it police brutality victims? Is it police themselves? Is it other artists? Who are you thinking about when you're thinking about your audience?
I'd say yes to all the above.
Yeah.
Again, we really just wanted to have a mature approach where we weigh all the different sides of the issue and don't, how do you put it? Don't victimize anyone in the process, but more try to respect where all the different people come from. And at the end of the day, I think we really pulled it off.
And it's a hard-hitting song. What are you guys hoping? Okay, Mane, what are you hoping comes out of the video? What would you like to see as a result of the video?
Really, what I'd like to see is that people, like I said, hold some accountability towards the cops. This is all our job. I mean, at the end of the day, they are the employees of us, the citizens. They're here to serve and protect us. And it's like, I seen as well, through Facebook posts when I had been talking about particular instances of police brutality, somebody's retort to something I had put on was, part of the system of having police is for us to fear them, that's the only way they can properly work.
You disagree?
And I completely disagree. That is not their reasoning for being here. Their reasoning is only to uphold the law. The laws that we all agree are how our society should operate. And hence the problem. So my biggest issue is not to be like, fuck these people, whatever, and whatever. The issue is here's the problem. They're going around using excessive force. They've done it to me personally. They've almost done it to groups that I've been with, trying to tase people for absolutely no reason. And and all I want to see is that these people know that you're not going to get away with that. The cops answer to us when he pulled out a taser on my partner S9 one night. He told us, as he's pulling out the taser and he sees our boy Bravo had his video phone out. And once he realized that he was being videotaped, he said, "Oh, what? Because of technology, you think you have rights?" And this cannot be the mind state of the people.
So is this your response? Is this video your response?
This is exactly what that is this is, not because I have a video do I have rights. I have rights anyway.
And you have a video.
And now I have a video, so, and we have video of you saying that stupid shit, and it's like, that's the thing, is we all need to be held accountable as far as us holding them accountable and then realizing that we are going to do that all the same.
Is there anything I haven't asked you yet that you want to talk about? Anything you want people to know about this video?
Can I give a quick throw to
Sure,
Vince? I just wanted to say that our director of photography couldn't be here today. He's actually in Las Vegas today shooting a video for an artist named YG. Oh. And I think if he was here, what he would like to say is that this was one of the hardest videos he's ever shot due to the amount of time we spent on it, and that every bit of it was done with love by him for the art, the cinematography.
And the viewer gets to reap the rewards.
The cinematography is, again, you just don't see videos that are done of this high quality nowadays. People don't take the time to make this kind of video, and Vince Lance did an amazing job with the cinematography. And I fully expect to see him win some awards for this.
Big up, Vince.
And the viewer's going to reap the rewards just by watching it. It's going to be all over the internet this upcoming week here. So check out the video. Oh, we're not on anymore, are we?
No, you're still.
So check out the video for this one's. It'll be all, where should I plug to? You want to do the?
Well, this will do July 16th, this Saturday at Castleman's, which is off of 2620 Welton Street. We'll be premiering the video, as well as One Eyed Kings will be releasing their song Children of the Ghetto. They're a very political group coming up out of Denver now as well. And one more thing I'd like to say is we want to dedicate everything we're doing actually, to one of the producers who remixed this. There's 6 different remixes for the song. And one of the producers who did it is this guy, Color Gray, who he's an old school Denver hip hop head that I came up watching and what have you. And tragically, about a couple weeks ago, well, he's no longer with us. And he was really hyped on the project to be some part of this large movement and just the work we had done. So I just want to say this one's dedicated to you, Color Gray, Cassidy McLean.